Okay, hi sixth graders. Mrs. Kennison completely forgot about the read aloud today, but luckily for you, I had a student email me and tell me, don't forget the read aloud. So now I remember, so shout out to you. Anyway, I guess we'll start. Last time feels like a long time ago that we were reading together, but Percy was in the water and he was getting pulled by a giant shark. For extra credit points, does anybody remember what kind of shark it was? All right, let's start. The surface shimmered maybe 150 feet above. I knew I should have been crushed by the pressure. Then again, I shouldn't have been able to breathe. I wondered if there was a limit to how deep I could go, if I could sink straight to the bottom of the Pacific. Then I saw something glimmering in the darkness below, growing bigger and brighter as it rose toward me. A woman's voice, like my mother's, called, "Percy Jackson." As she got closer, her shape became clearer. She had flowy black hair and a dress made of green silk. Light flickered around her, and her eyes were so distractingly beautiful, I hardly noticed the stallion-sized seahorse that she was riding. She dismounted, and the seahorse and the mako shark whisked off and started playing something that looked kind of like tag. The underwater lady smiled at me. "You've come far, Percy Jackson. Well done." I wasn't quite sure what to do, so I bowed. "You're the woman who spoke to me in the Mississippi River." "Yes, child, I am. I am Nereid, spirit of the sea." It was not easy to appear so far upriver, but the naiads, my freshwater cousins, helped to sustain my life force. They honor Lord Poseidon, though they do not serve in his court. "And you? Do you serve in Poseidon's court?" She nodded. "It has been many years since a child of the sea god has been born. We have watched you with great interest." Suddenly, I remember faces in the waves off of Montauk Beach when I was a little boy, reflections of smiling women. Like so many of the other weird things in my life, I had never given it much thought before. If my father is so interested in me, why isn't he here? Why won't he speak to me? Then a cold current rose from the depths. "Do not judge the Lord of the Sea too harshly," the Nereid told me. "He stands at the brink of an unwanted war. He has much to occupy his time. Besides, he is forbidden to help you directly. The gods may not show such favoritism, even to their own children, especially to their own children. The gods can work by indirect influence only, and that is why I give you a warning and a gift." She held out her hand, and 3 white pearls flashed in her palm. I know you journey to Hades' realm," she said. "Few mortals have ever done this and survived. Orpheus, who had great music skill, Hercules, who had great strength, and Houdini, who could escape even the depths of Tartarus. So, do you have these talents?" No. No, ma'am, I do not." "Ah, but you have something else, Percy. You have gifts that only you have begun to know. The oracles have foretold a great and terrible future for you, should you survive to manhood. Poseidon would not have you die before your time. Therefore, take these, and when you are in need, smash a pearl at your feet." "Well, what will happen?" "That," she said, "depends on the need. But remember, what belongs to the sea will always return to the sea." "What about the warning?" Her eyes flickered with green light. "Go with what your heart tells you, or you will lose everything. Hades feeds on doubt and hopelessness. He will trick you if he can, and make you mistrust your own judgment. Once you are in his realm, he will never willingly let you leave. Keep faith. Good luck, Percy Jackson." Then she summoned her seahorse and rode toward the void. Wait! I called. "At the river, you said not to trust the gifts. But what are these gifts?" "Goodbye, young hero," she called back, her voice fading into the depths. "You must listen to your heart." Then she became a speck of glowing grain, and then gone. I wanted to follow her down into the darkness. I wanted to see the court of Poseidon, but I looked up at the sunset darkening on the surface, and my friends were waiting. We had so little time. Then I kicked up toward the shore. When I reached the beach, my clothes dried instantly. I told Grover and Annabeth what had happened, and I showed them the pearls. Annabeth grimaced. "No gift comes without a price." "They were free." "No, there's no such thing as a free lunch. That's an ancient Greek saying that translated pretty well into American. There will be a price. Just wait." On that happy thought, we turned our backs to the sea. With some spare change from Aries' backpack, we took the bus into West Hollywood. I showed the driver the Underworld address slip that I'd taken from Auntie M's garden gnome emporium, but he had never heard of DOA recording studios. You remind me of somebody I saw on TV, he told me. You a child actor or something? Stunt double for a lot of child actors. Ugh, that explains it, he said. We thanked him and then we got off as quick as we could to our next stop. We wandered for miles and miles on foot, looking for DOA. Nobody seemed to know where it was. It didn't even appear in the phone book. Twice we ducked into alleys to avoid cop cars. I froze in front of an appliance store window because the television was playing an interview with somebody who looked very familiar. My stepdad, Smelly Gabe. He was talking to Barbara Walters. I mean, as if he were some kind of huge celebrity or something. She was interviewing him in our apartment in the middle of a poker game, and then there was this young blonde lady sitting next to him, patting his hand. A fake tear glistened on his cheek, and he was saying, "Honest, Mrs. Walters, if it wasn't for Sugar here, my grief counselor, I'd be a wreck. My stepson took everything I cared about. My wife, my Camaro. I'm sorry, I just have trouble even talking about it." There you have it, America, Barbara Walters turned to the camera. A man torn apart, an adolescent boy with serious issues. Let me show you again the last known photo of this troubled young fugitive, taken a week ago in Denver. The screen cut to a grainy shot of me, Annabeth, and Grover standing outside of the Colorado diner talking to Aries. "Who are the other children in this photo?" Barbara Walters asked dramatically. "Who is the man that's with them? Is Percy Jackson a delinquent? A terrorist? Or perhaps a brainwashed victim of a frightening new cult? When we come back, we chat with the leading child psychologist. Stay tuned, America." "Come on," Grover told me, and he hauled me away before I could punch a hole right in the appliance store window. It got dark, and hungry-looking characters started coming out on the streets to play. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a New Yorker, and I don't even scare easy. But LA had a totally different feel from New York. Back home, everything seemed close. It didn't matter how big the city was. You could get anywhere without getting lost. The street pattern on the subway, they just made sense. There was a system to how things worked. A kid could be safe as long as he wasn't stupid. But LA was not like that. It was really spread out, chaotic, and hard to move around. It reminded me of Aries. It wasn't enough for LA to just be big. It had to prove it's big by being loud and strange and difficult to navigate too. I didn't know how we were ever going to find the entrance to the underworld by tomorrow, the summer solstice. That's it. Have a great night, everybody.